I'm back with another relationship video. I don't do them that often, but I had to cover this one. I just did the one about uh, what love is and how partners should treat each other. This time, I'm talking about this whole you're single until you're married, which I don't agree with. You know, people say that, hey, until there's rings on the fingers, we're still single. Been with a person for 3, 4 years, but you're still single because you haven't tied the knot yet. And I think this can get confusing in terms of unless you all just have an open relationship. For the people that don't, but do subscribe to this idea, I don't know how they expect that to work. I wouldn't go with it. I'm not going to have any lady that I'm with saying, you know, we free to do whatever we want until the marriage date. So let's say I'm getting married June 14th, 2026. And so everybody is fair game for me and her all the way until June 14th, 2026. That date and later, everybody's off limits. Then it's considered, okay, we're stepping out on each other. No. Everything leading up to June 14th, 2026, I'm saying it's just me and her. We've let everybody else go. I don't play the you're single until you're married game. And for people who are actually single, and I'm not saying single until you marry, you with someone and you doing that, I mean you just don't have anyone right now. Don't think you can get at other people who actually are not single just because they're not married, and so you're saying okay, everybody's single, because there's a lot of people who are not married but they do have someone. So you going around with this mindset, whichever women and men who do this and say, well, everybody's single, there's no rings. I'm not talking about the engagement ring either. I'm talking about the wedding ring. So we can get phone numbers, go out on dates. You can be barking up the wrong tree and setting yourself up to get hurt. You can't just be talking to anybody's significant other just because they're not married and you go off of this, okay, everybody's single until then. No. This could be dangerous. And I definitely don't agree with it and would be mad at a woman who decided this is what we're doing until we get married, that she can talk to whomever she want until I marry her, even though we've been together already for a year, 2 years. No. I would never allow that or agree to that unless, you know, you one of those couples that want to do open relationship like Monique and Sydney, comedian Monique and her husband Sydney. That's on you all, or Will and Jada, however, but that hasn't been set, then I don't agree with this. You're married, you're single until you're married tagline. And it may have some biblical roots in it as well in terms of where it comes from. I'm not sure. I was on ebony.com reading an article about this, and I'm going to go into it right now. And the author of the article agrees with me about the whole you're single until you're married. The author does not subscribe to it either, because they were at a party and where people were actually going with that, and the author was trying to see exactly how that works and how it's not practical. You know, it doesn't make sense. So let me read the author's thoughts on it to you all now. So the author says, it was at that moment that the problem with single until married preposition became incredibly clear. For some, it is little more than a smokescreen to deflect away from their lack of desire to engage in a monogamous relationship. So it's just those two people. The author says, I'm definitely aware that there are some who use that statement to propagate the importance of having their union blessed as official by the Lord and the court, but it's impossible to overlook the reality that some people really just use it as an excuse to string people along in situationships, not relationships, situationships. So you got people sitting around with maybe no intentions of even being married. So they want to go off of that narrative, you're single until you're married, so they can continue to mess around. So let me continue. This is the last paragraph. In reality, the single until you're married statement has no use. Before you say, I do, you must get to know someone, invest, and exchange feelings, meet and deal with each other's families, and develop a life plan for you as a married couple. That's not being single. That's the development stages of what you hope will be a lifelong union. Anyone who labels that as simply being single is someone who actually wants the benefits of being single while also getting the awards of getting the rewards of being in a relationship. And I have to agree with the author of this Ebony article. A marriage license isn't the start of your relationship, it's just the continuation. Anyone planning on acting brand new with a title is setting themselves up and the person they're with for a big disappointment. So yeah, this whole single until you're married thing, yeah, I've never gravitated towards it or actually agreed with it. You run up on somebody's significant other just because they don't have a ring, you'll either get into it with them or possibly if they with their significant other, both of them. Because you're looking at, well, they're not married, so I should be able to, he's looking like, well, I can talk to his girlfriend, or she's looking like I can talk to her boyfriend. No, you're setting yourself up for a possible fight, getting hurt, all because you feel people should have rings on their finger and be legally married for you not to be able to try and get their number and take them out somewhere. That's not how this works. Now, to the people who are okay with that, and that's one of the rules sitting over your relationship, by all means. But I don't think the majority of people subscribe to you're single until you're married. A lot of people, sometimes I've heard people say it, maybe, I don't know if they were joking. Well, they'll say there ain't no ring on his finger. Even though he got a whole lady, she got a whole man. But they had this, I don't have a ring on my finger. If that's the situation you're in, I'd be very cautious about the person you're with, and when they out without you and that situation comes up, or people try and shoot their shot at them and trying to see if they with somebody or not, and they saying there's no ring on my finger, I would be very careful about moving forward with that person. Because if they moving like that before you get married, that's something in them, something in that guy, something in that woman, that they may move like that after you get married. Keep that in mind. People who want to mess with other people and say until they're married, and they're doing it while they're with someone else, who's to say that doesn't translate over after the marriage? Can they just turn that off? Those urges, those impulses they have to mess with another person who they think is cute? Be mindful of that for anyone you're dealing with. If you're dealing with someone, or you meet someone in the future and they say, hey, well, we're single until we're married. If they're telling you that up front, I wouldn't move forward with that person. That's how they're about to move. As you introduce this person to your parents, you all might move in with each other. I know people who living with each other, not married yet, but they don't go by you're single until you're married. We under the same roof, but we can just run people in and out because we're not married yet. No, them living together is just them trying to continue to get to know each other even better and just stay at home habits. What they do when they wake up. Do they pick their clothes up off the floor? Do they leave the water running? Do they snore? That's all. I know the Bible calls it shacking up and things like that, but you're just trying to get to see who you're going to be living with as well, and just spending the night won't do it. You all have to live at the same address. But while we're living at the same address, just because we haven't gotten married does not mean that we can just go out here and do our own thing. If that's the case, we just break up and don't live with each other. So I've never been down with this. You're single until you're married. Somebody might end up hurting you because you think you can just talk to who they're with just because they're not married, just because that's what you operate under. And that's fine if you do. You need to make sure those people operate under that too before you proceed. I don't think the majority of people do with the whole you're single until you're married. I think people say you are single until you all break up or something. When you get married, obviously you not single, and then you're not single again until if you end up getting a divorce. But people saying until we get to that we're single, watch their behavior, watch how they move. Ladies, watch them. Guys, watch her. If that particular person you're with, that's what they believe. And do you really think they can cut that off, like I said, after the wedding date? There's something in them that wants to mess with multiple people. And you want to use you're single until you're married as a way to have an excuse to why you out of town with this other person, but we're living together. No, I'm not buying it. I don't think you all should either. You heard what I just read from the ebony.com article and how the author feels about it. I'm in agreement with the author. You want single benefits, just be single. Don't try and get with someone and then just want to have the relationship benefits, someone to just lay next to or eat with. They gonna cook dinner, whatever the case may be, yet you still out here operating like you a single lady or a single man. That's not cool, causes too many problems. And this whole single until you're married thing, I wouldn't run with it. That's just me. And I'll let any woman know that up front from me. And that's a deal breaker, that we're not single until we're married. We together, then we get married, and we just continue to be together. Marriage just adds a different title to what we have going on. So I look at it like that. And let me know what you guys think. Are you cool with single until married, or are you off the market regardless? No rings, but it's still just you and that person. How do you all feel? Any answer is welcome. Let me know down in the comments below about this. You're single until you're married. Like, share, and subscribe as always. Subscribe to the channel, Facts of Feelings, all one word, no spaces. Put that in the YouTube search and my channel comes right up. And my email is down in the description of this video if you want to send me topics or videos to discuss. Cregier.mj@gmail.com. cregier.mj@gmail.com. And if you're single, be single. One day you get married, be married. In between to those steps, you're still involved. You're not single, despite the whole you're single until you're married. Don't mess around and find out. To the people that's with someone, and to the people who are actually single and think they can talk to people who with someone just because they don't have a ring on their finger, you can get really messed up out here if you violate that and just think you're single until you're married because you don't see no rings. Stop that. I'm out.